Jesus. Nobody was talking to them. My mama used to tell me, if nobody's talking to you, keep your mouth shut. Nobody was talking to them. And they figured to answer, to say, send her away. For she cries out after us. Wasn't nobody crying for them. As a matter of fact, she didn't even see them. Listen to what the text says. Look at what she says. Have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David. Whenever you cry out for help, you will always deal with the fact of people got something to say. They're going to try to tell you how you ought to pray. Going to tell you what worked for them. They're going to tell you where you ought to go and what you ought to do. And nobody was even talking to you. Some of you talking to the wrong people right now. We're trying to go to another level, and some of y'all still talking with the people that ain't going nowhere. People that ain't going to do nothing for you. You still talking to them. You still listening to what they got to say. So this woman cries out, but look at this. She cried out for help. Look at this in verse 25. She was consistent in her requests. Look at verse 25. Then she came and worshiped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, it is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs. Now, I'm going to just stop right there for a second, because I will be disturbed if you were comparing me to a dog. I would be majorly disturbed if you came out your mouth and compared me to the dog. Now, if this was a black woman, we all know she's Canaan, so she's a woman of color. So put it in 2005. I ain't no dog. Some of us would be very disturbed if we heard Jesus say, you know, it's not good for me to give this food to the little dogs. We would be really disturbed, because we would be like, I done came all this way, cried out your name to get some help for my child, and you calling me a dog? Look at what he says. But he answered and said, it's not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs. But she was still consistent in her request. She wasn't worried about how she was looked at. She wasn't worried about how she was identified. She wasn't worried about how she was being criticized by these disciples. All she knew was that she needed a breakthrough. And all she wanted was the help of the Lord. So if I got to look like a dog, act like a dog, sound like a dog, don't matter to me. All I want is you to help me, Lord. All I need is your help. All I need is your power. All I need is your healing for my daughter. And some of us can't deal with that. Some of us can't deal with the fact of being challenged in the midst of you being consistent as you're pursuing a request for your child. Parents, some of you need to go to Jesus for your child. Let me say that one more time. Parents, some of you need to really go to Jesus for your child. You want a breakthrough for your child? Go to Jesus. You want your child to stop cursing? Go to Jesus. You want your child to stop fornicating? Go to Jesus. You want your child to stop lying? Stop smoking weed? Stop having sex before they marriage? Go to Jesus. Touch the nerves. I've been in this youth pastoring thing, and I've been noticing how I get so many phone calls. You know, I talked to Reverend Berkeley and said, man, you didn't tell me it was going to be like this. I get all these phone calls, and I don't hear not one time, I need to go to Jesus for my child. I need to go to Jesus for my child's deliverance. It's time for us to go to Jesus. Whatever is going on, you got to take it to Jesus. And be consistent in your pursuit for your requests. She didn't stop. She kept going on. She didn't worry about it. She even said, look at what she said. She said, yes, Lord, but even the little dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. In other words, what she was saying is that, Lord, I'll eat whatever you give me, even if it's a crumb of a word. If it ain't even got to be a full course meal. I don't need no dessert, no Kool-Aid, no nothing. God, just give me a crumb. I know some of you in here, you remember where God only gave you a crumb of a word to bring you out of the hell that you was in. A crumb of a word to open up your eyes. A crumb of a word to bring about deliverance. A crumb of a word to heal your sick body. Just a crumb of a word. God, just give me a crumb. If I got to sit by your table like a dog, God, if I got to sit there and wait for a crumb to fall, I don't need the full meal, but I'm just going to wait until a crumb falls, and as soon as it falls, God, I'll eat whatever you give me. See, the thing is this. In the text, see, I looked up the word worship, Minister Heard. I looked up the word worship. And when I looked up the word worship, I understood that the word worship also has a connection to it about posture. And it said in there that the word worship, whenever we're worshiping God, that we're in the posture as a lap dog sitting in the lap of his master. And so what a lap dog does, it sits there. It ain't trying to eat the meal. All it wants to do is eat the crumbs. Soon as the crumbs fall, it's licking up the crumbs. You ain't got to worry about the full course meal, just lick up the crumbs. And so all she was saying, Lord, if I got to sit in your lap, I ain't got to have the full course meal. But if I got to sit in your lap just to get a word from you, just to get a breakthrough from you, God, just give me a crumb. Don't matter how big it is, how small it is, the fact that I'm in your presence, that's all I need. She was persistent. She was consistent in her pursuit, in her request for her daughter. And look at what happens. Look at what Jesus does for her. She cried out. She was consistent. But not only that, look at what Jesus does for her. He commended her. She was commended for her faith. Some of us are looking for the Lord to help you, but you haven't cried out yet. You haven't really opened up your mouth. You've been casually bless the Lord. Hallelujah. But this woman needed a breakthrough.